Okay, thanks. Thanks for the invitation. Great to be here again, once again in Frankfurt. We have 25 minutes to actually just follow up on that great panel on the future of asset management. It was really a great panel, gave me good vibes, and what I just wanted to add on, or I think what we've seen is it's not just technology, it's not just regulation, but it's the right mindset we all need as a society, but especially in the asset management industry, to move forward and not to keep the old things doing like we've always did. I was working a decade in the hedge fund industry, and what I was then kind of realizing is that we are just too reactive on implementing new regulation or legislation rather than thinking about the true innovation forward from an infrastructure perspective. And that actually opened my eyes 2015, 2016, when Ethereum came up with smart contracts. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about, the future of on-chain asset management. And I do the vision part and then hand over to Sygnum and to Enzyme to really give meat to the bone, to really talk about use cases, even with regulation, what we've already seen these days on-chain. So talking about the vision, our vision, and we had that briefly at that panel as well. My vision, or our vision as the Multi-Chain Asset Managers Association, is all assets will be tokenized. Why? Because it's just the more easy and the better way in a digital world to transact and to move assets and to prove ownership. And with having all assets tokenized, and here we are not just talking about equities, bonds, real-world assets, but obviously also Pokemon cards and everything. So asset management from that perspective just grows much, much broader and bigger as well. So having all assets tokenized, it means that it completely makes sense to also manage those assets on-chain. So not just trading on-chain, storing on-chain, but also doing the whole operations, management, custody, and distribution. If you think from an investment fund perspective, bring the fund itself on-chain. The fund being a series of smart contracts where you can hard-code a whole new decentralized infrastructure. You can add KYC, AML modules, you can add risk management, and you can actually create a true decentralized, a true transparent, a true low-cost fund of the future. So that's the idea, and that's actually what I'm looking for after having experienced all the pain points in the current fund industry with the intransparency, the high costs, and so on. I could go for ages. We just have 25 minutes. So looking forward to a technology-regulated and operated investment fund. The fund itself is a series of smart contracts, is transparent, is set up, and the panel before also mentioned that is setup is doable within 15 minutes. I'm not talking about regulation here, but the tech already supports that. And I know that a lot of our asset managers here and around the globe would actually support that vision as well, because we all know about the pain points in the industry. So blockchain technology could really upgrade asset management as an industry to the next level and bringing once again, finally, the end client again into the focus, connecting the end client with money, with the asset manager, with knowledge, and getting rid of that ultra-complex trust system we currently have, because that ultra-complex, intransparent trust system doesn't create true trust. And that's in the middle, that's the core of asset management. We need to bring back the trust, and blockchain technology can help. So that's what is the vision of the association. I co-founded it with Mona Isa 5 years ago. We are non-profit. We have 50 members. Some of them you can see here from the TradFi, from the DeFi world, trying to bridge them. And it's not about bringing DeFi to TradFi. It's much more to bringing TradFi over to the mindset as well of DeFi, of true decentralization, of open architecture, of using blockchain technology. So we do that by spearheading the vision towards regulators. We are talking about legal frameworks there. We are doing a lot of education in the space, and we are always very, very eager to do use cases as well. Sygnum will in a second talk about that as well. What we've done, for example, since 2.5 years, we are actually managing an on-chain fund with 20 Swiss asset managers, all C-level, all mostly first contact with blockchain and with crypto via Mama 2 years ago. So we set up a smart contract where we collectively, as an investment club, manage our assets. That's much more for the mindset performance rather than for the economical performance. We are doing true DeFi on-chain already, and we are doing that under the FINMA approval outside of the fund regulation. You might know the investment club concept, whereby you can have 20 professionals investing collectively and jointly. So you can't outsource the decisions, but you have to make that all within the same club. So that wouldn't qualify as a fund then, but it's inside clear rules. So it feels like a fund, and we are doing that since 2.5 years. You can have a look here. It's on-chain. It's truly transparent. It didn't give an economic reward yet, but a great mindset reward and a learning curve which is steeper than you see here. We are managing $50,000 approximately. We are doing a lot of education via that on-chain investment club. We are probably the very first on-chain investment club doing this. And that was, let's say, the first step towards opening the mindset of traditional professional asset managers. FINMA knows that. We are doing it in collaboration with the Swiss Asset Management Association. That's kind of the Swiss BAI, Bundesverband Alternative Investments here in Germany. So that's a lot of education we're trying to do. And now next level is that those professionals took it further with more industry proof of concepts, and I'm handing over to Sygnum to talk about their next product, or at least POC.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Markus. I'm happy to talk about this proof of concept of an asset management solution on chain that we're currently running since 2 months roughly. And you probably also agree with me that some pieces of asset management on chain are not yet there to fully take advantage of all the opportunities. At the same time, it's also not a huge client demand yet that people say, look, we just want to have asset management services on chain. But we think, and that's also part of our motivation why we did it, that there is a lot of value within it, and to really learn and move forward, you need to do it hands-on instead of just thinking about what could not work, right? So our motivation, number one, is to be active in using innovation in blockchain and really have hands-on experience. Secondly, we think that regulation and legal frameworks are written now, so you need to have viable, real use cases to really write those frameworks in a right way, in a client-centric way, but also in a compliant way. Next, we think that for our clients, this will give a very profound new wave of a different client experience with client value add. And lastly, we also think that cost efficiency and the way you actually access investment strategies is also important, because at the end, asset management is about selling risk-adjusted returns after cost that match the client's investment objective, and that's finally what they are paying for that service. Now, we thought when we approached that POC that, where there's a will, there's a way. Maybe to start with, we will have to cut some corners. You will not get everything from the beginning, because there are some limitations on the regulatory side. There are maybe some limitations on the technological side. And there's also limitations on even defining what are the client's needs and what are the product designs. But by doing it and really tipping the toe, you figure out what actually works, what is interesting, what is not. And we said there are some minimum criteria we have to fulfill to get it going, also in discussion with FINMA, the Financial Markets Authority in Switzerland, that we have been in active discussion to really make sure that we cover those, but we also get basically the go to really move into it. Number one, we need to be AML compliant. I think for us as a fully regulated bank in Switzerland, there's no way and there's also no will to get around that. Secondly, know your customer, right? By using test clients that are already customers with Sygnum, we have covered that, and we are working on different topics to cover those, but whitelisting was an easy access and easy and effective solution to that. Other things are in the market, like the zero knowledge proofs and other concepts to make that possible in a more broader and open way in the future. Technology readiness, I think also the previous panel has mentioned that, not just what is the DeFi protocol delivering, but also what the bank with its core banking system, with AML systems and so on, is integrated. We need to make sure that that is working. We have done that to really, from the beginning to the end of the process, having properly integrated that into our flows. Client centricity, right? At the end, you need to have a strategy that can be implemented that really delivers the desired investment return. Therefore, also the protocol, the market access needs to be available to basically invest in what you want to invest. Legal frameworks, at the end, you will figure out that there's no way around having a proper contractual framework between the client and its rights and access to its assets and the actual service, which is from the DeFi platform back to the client when he is transferring the assets to that investment solution on chain. And last but not least, you need to be with the right partners, and you only figure out who are the right partners for a specific service if you start working together with them. Otherwise, it will always be pieces of paper that do not really give you the right view on that. And therefore, we were diving into it. Maybe a short question. Who of you is actually using DeFi? Maybe hands up. Who is using that in a fully regulated way? Someone, great. Nice to have someone else, and I think it's super to move to that mindset and say, look, there's a way to get that done. Now, some learnings and maybe some next steps to share with you where we are and what we figured out is, number one, online and on-chain transparency has been really a benefit, and really nice to see that you have the information you want to have on different sources fully automated available. The immediate availability of valuation is also super nice in our setup. We have an NAV every time someone deposits or withdraws, so even every time when we have a transaction on that specific wallet. And secondly, if markets move by a certain degree of percentage, we also generate a new NAV, so you have always an up-to-date view of the value of your assets. Production costs have been massively lower, including setup costs, but also running costs. The complexity of the whole setup has played a massive role in that game. We have also a high degree of customization on the strategy level, so you can think about mass customization of investment strategies and fully implement that in an automated manner. Data integration for your systems, both on-chain but also via APIs, is a super convenient feature of that service and that setup we have been doing. So fully integrating your position holdings, your NAVs, the prices of the assets you're holding, fees and so on, is something that you would usually in traditional setups have with large delays or potentially media breaks that you don't actually want to have for a scalable business as asset management is. And then also we have been able to implement governance models, internal, who can change the smart contract parameters, having multi-sig solutions, separating trading access from changing the wallet, from sending money in and out. So you can also spread it to the right roles within the bank with the right governance and with the right permissions internally. That has been a very smooth process and a good experience so far. Transaction costs per se, they stay a bit of an issue because we are on Ethereum and you pay gas fees depending on what actually the current level of fees are. It could be non-comparable to a commercial agreement you have so far with maybe other business partners in the traditional setup, but there are also solutions with other layer ones and scaling solutions to be added in the future. Auditing of NAVs and really having service providers on the auditing and review part that are used to on-chain asset management solutions, we think is still something that we're looking forward to see more people joining and really helping such solutions grow and evolve. And then some limitations on what assets and what strategies you can access. For example, Enzyme would allow to do yielding strategies. So far, we cannot do that in a fully regulated way, the way we're set up, and that also limits a bit the access to the market. Lastly, I would just end up with some topics that we're currently working on, and it's I think it's very generally for all the topics. It's more about how do you connect the technology with the regulation and with the law, much more than the technology and the benefits itself. With that, over to Luca.
Thank you, Markus, and thank you, Hans, for setting the stage, and Markus for going into depth from the traditional finance perspective. I'm speaking from the perspective of the builders. Enzyme is one of the leading on-chain asset management protocols, and I fully second the idea that you actually need to work with the right partners, because you need to have traditional finance institutions that are open-minded enough to actually go and explore these solutions in a way that actually can make this happen. This is what we all want, but we need players that are actually willing to cross that bridge and to learn from each other, because this experience has really taught mutually from each other. We've learned so many things, and actually we're here to present some things that we've been working on. As I came in here today, I heard a lot the words potential benefits and future tense. No, we will. I think we're here today about something that is actually a reality, not just a vision, something that has been live on chain for the past 2 months and is going to be moving forwards. Obviously, some premises, this is a proof of concept at the moment, and this process has been a bit simplified for illustration purposes, but this is roughly what's happening today. So we have a client, on the Sygnum side that is coming and being onboarded. There's a KYC AML process. We heard like the most important requirements are KYC AML. So those are the things that we are implementing in this bridging between traditional finance and DeFi. Those clients are whitelisted, and that whitelisting means that those addresses will be the only one that are allowed to interact with the smart contract. Once they're whitelisted, a deposit can take place, so assets can move from custody onto a smart contract on Enzyme. And that creates minting or tokenized shares of those of that vault. And here's a very important feature that we have developed. Like a year ago when Markus and I started to speak, one of the key questions that he has, Luca, we have to find a way to make that trading in DeFi compliant with travel rule requirements, with AML. So that was actually a challenge we had to actively go out and find a solution for. And the solution was to build a connection through the protocol 0x between Enzyme and liquidity providers or professional market makers. So now we have a way to make sure in a deterministic way that the Sygnum Vault can only trade with institutional players in a way that then makes it possible to have compliance with travel rule and AML. So effectively, we have those trades executed with a known and KYC counterpart, and then of course, all the other beauties, as Hans would call it, of DeFi, which you can redeem your assets anytime with instant liquidity, and you can go through an off-ramp if the client wants that. Also, I want to highlight the fact that Enzyme is really ready for institutional adoption. Also, as I came in here today, I hear a lot speaking about DeFi risks and smart contract risks, and I think it's probably time to stop generalizing this concept, and it's actually time to start thinking about smart contracts that have been on-chain for a number of years and that have a serious track record, what's also known as Lindy effect. In fact, Enzyme has been on-chain for over 5 years without any hacks or without any bugs. Top audits from PwC, Chain Security, and OpenZeppelin. Best IT security practices with ISO 2701. Obviously, these compliance features have been built around the user requirements from Sygnum in this case, and can be applied also to other users. And of course, the beauty of DeFi and our aggregating the best of DeFi, so having access to crypto assets, in the future, real world assets, carbon credits, everything can be aggregated in this DeFi operating system, as we call it. And of course, also the ability to have API and SDK, so the ability to connect also to other tools for reporting or auditing. So these are some of the important things. And icing on the cake, obviously, it's not that we are actually working with BlackRock, but the idea that you can actually white label an on-chain vault and have it, completely under a URL, a custom URL, and therefore have full control of the customer journey. Also, a word about Avantgarde. I come here as Avantgarde. We are the core developers of Enzyme. So obviously, we also offer DeFi as a service. For institutional players that want to explore DeFi, we offer obviously the compliance features. We can also advise on which strategies to run in DeFi. We see a lot of requests for automation, how to translate those strategies into an automated execution. And of course, we can also create legal wrappers around an on-chain execution so that we can actually mirror the paper shares of a legal wrapper with the tokens that are minted on Enzyme. So if there is actually one message that I want to pass to you is, we're builders, and we are also, very willing to listen to your requirements and turn it into actual execution and custom development. So all I'm asking is actually that come to us and talk about those challenges, because we are really eager to tackle them together with you. There is one last bit which is the survey that maybe, like, Hans, you wanna have a word about this, or then we can leave it to questions since we have 1 minute.
It's just a market survey for the future of asset management or finance, actually done by Sygnum. It's still open 1 or 2 weeks, so you can participate anonymously. There will be a Sygnum report about it. So yeah, please participate, and looking forward to build the future. Thanks.